Okay, hello, welcome back, and good evening. Hope you guys are doing good. We are on a good old Thursday, and we had the movements that we were expecting for Bitcoin at least, so things are looking really good as per usual. Current price 117,316. It's a good spot to be at, right? We had our little projection yesterday that I made that, yeah, 118,000 would indeed be our resistance for Bitcoin. So I did determine that correctly, and we were also with the expectation that due to what happened yesterday and in reality the good news that we received, yeah, there's no reason for us to go lower. People say, oh, after the FOMC, we're going to crash. We're going to go down. We have a CME gap at 93,000. We're going to crash until there, and then we're going to head up. Maybe that is still the case. But as of right now, I even determined this. I'm like, there's no real reason for us to be dropping. I am currently suffering in my studio because I spilled tea all over myself, and this time it was really bad. Went all over my notes, went all over my keyboard, so it is a mess. And I blame it on the thumbnail. I was doing my thumbnail at the moment. That is why I was late. But it's okay. We rock and roll. I'll just buy a new one. We're too rich. So, what is next? 120,000 for Bitcoin. Next leg up. Could be possible. Retracements. That level has not really changed, although it might. We are expecting some volatility tomorrow due to the triple witching event. If you don't know what that is, I'll explain it later. But overall, for basically stocks and crypto, was a good day, green day overall. Because yeah, what I mentioned is like, yeah, ultimately there's no reason for us to be dropping. Things are good. We're gonna get our 3 rate cuts. We got our first one, so we're expecting 2 more. Should drop us appropriately to the levels that we want to see, and all that money should eventually start flowing into the goodies. So yeah, good day overall. We hit a high of 117,928 today on Bitcoin. So just shy of the 118,000 mark. We did not unfortunately pass that. So that's our current target to break out of. And once we do, what are liquidations looking like? I did some modifications to my little speed dial, by the way. Let me go to a 2-week chart. Yeah, we do have a good amount of liquidations here. Could see a slowdown at 118,700, 800. And if we continue going from there, yeah, easily we break 120,000. That's just a possibility based off of crypto liquidation heat map, right? That's where all the money is sitting. The shorts that are forced to get closed. And those are millions of dollars worth, hundreds of millions of dollars worth. On something like Bitcoin, though, it's not that big of a movement, but it's money nonetheless, and it's a catalyst. It's something that can get us going. Because you'll notice that there's not really much after 120,000. There is still some, but we could see a slowdown at this moment, right? The acceleration will start here, slow down at 118,700. If we are able to keep up that momentum, should be able to kick us up higher to 120,000. We could slow down there and start coming back down just a little. So 120,000 also coincides with the resistance levels that I have over here around to this area. So, you know, we could see a bit of a movement like that before we maybe eventually start continuing higher. It's kind of my little projection for you. Towards the downside, I really don't see a good reason why we should be dropping. And if we do, 114,000, 113 and some change. That's the same kind of expectations I had before the FOMC meeting, which even during that quote-unquote volatile time, we did not even approach those levels. The lowest we hit was, what was this, 114,700? It's not even that bad. We were worse before the FOMC itself, 114,300. And even so, like, that was just in preparation for the FOMC. We were scared. We didn't know what was going to happen. Not to worry though. Alts are already starting to make some kind of a movement so far, but we need Bitcoin to lead the way. So that 120,000 could not come any sooner. Hey, maybe we get that tomorrow. If we do get that tomorrow, it should be good enough to, like I said, boost us up to 120,000. And then what do you got? Saturday, a weekend decay where we kind of get a same scenario repeating what happened earlier this week, right? Where we shoot up and then we kind of like lateralize at the top because there's a very low volume. Sure, we could come down just a little bit as we approach like the uptrend line over here, and then we can continue. Oh, I'm blind. Thinking of this level. Yeah, maybe we go back to 118,000 as, you know, current resistance will become a support in the future. And then we can take off from there. That's what I would analyze it, technically speaking. I opened a new position on Compound, of all things. I was doing a bit of research on it, and it's similar to what I'm doing with Aave here. Aave's already going up, so I figured, hey, let's get a low cap in here. Or a mid cap, I'd say, right? Has like a couple hundred millions of market cap, number 136. So I figured, yeah, it's got the potential to rise, and the risk to reward, it actually looks really good. I'll talk about Compound now that we're on that subject. There's my little entry here. Yeah, I kind of bought it too late, but it's fine. I have other orders here just in case we do come down. Seems like Super Trend is already on its way up, so I could probably dismiss this order. There's a Fibonacci line on this one. That is why I put my order here. And then we have another one at 42.64. So first one's 43.81. Next is 42.64. Might bump this up if needed, depending on whatever the average is between this Fibonacci line and also the super trend, right? Because ultimately you should be following the trends. Current price on Compound is 46.21, up 0.76% today. And look at my liquidation price. We've seen those levels happen June of 2023. That's not going to happen again. And the upside potential that we've got, maybe this just shoots up to 140. I'm not even going to expect that. I'm just putting my take profit at 84. Because, you know, we've lateralized around that area a couple times, right? February, March, first pump with Bitcoin. Compound took advantage of that, rose to 103 and started lateralizing around the 80s and the 90s. Then came back down significantly, draw down to a 33 level. Pretty sure this is August 5. And then Trump victory, November 11, starts shooting up to a new high of 140. It's come all the way back down. Very volatile, hey? 35 was its lowest. The current price is 46. I figured, hey, with 3x leverage, you're getting liquidated at 30. Even on the worst times of this year, have we ever reached 30? The answer is no. It's a relatively safe play in my opinion, and it's a low cap altcoin. So I once again, I think it's low cap. It's probably not. Hold on. I'm noticing there's like tea spilled on my desk still. Good thing I didn't throw this tissue away all the, you know, somewhere far. Still relatively close for cleaning. Yeah, so that's my little analysis on something like Compound. And you're going to notice a lot of tokens are like that. There's also a big narrative on Twitter right now. Look for coins that where their charts look like this is what they're saying, right? Sure. And also my next entries, they look evenly spaced out, basically on the average of where price likes to consolidate. But I think the next leg up is coming very soon. I do believe in this alt season. It's going to happen in Q4. So not only Compound, but a lot of things will take advantage of this rise. We went up to 48 on the 13th of September for whatever reason. So yeah, that's why I'm buying at 46 right here. Just out of spite. And if we do continue the drawdowns, doesn't bother me too much and would actually help me because it will increase my exposition. I only put 500 in here, so it's not that much. Yeah, that's that. I don't think I filled any other orders anywhere else. Ave, that was 2 days ago, and I'm sure I've covered that. So no, nothing new. There's still... He spilled. Oh, man. What's have to happen? Any more tea? No, I don't think so. Okay. I don't even know how I spilled it. Like, I literally just picked it up to drink it, and I guess it was too fast or something. Or maybe the cup was too full. Whatever. We shall not cry over spilt tea. Moving on. Ethereum, 4,611, up 0.17%. Kind of came up from this low point, so I've adjusted my uptrend to bounce off of that. This was from the FOMC era. It's looking good. We met with a resistance right here at 4,634. Is that really a resistance? We're looking for supports from that Fibonacci, so I'll change this. Yeah, we kind of got it. 4,635. Practically the same, isn't it? So next level, 4,692, 4,766, 4,810, 4,865, and then you could call this 5,000. Our all-time high is this one, 4,956. Yeah. Major resistance, of course, at the 5,000 barrier for Ethereum. I'm staying out of Ethereum still. I believe it will be doing fine, but I just don't want to take part in none of that. I will purchase something like Solana, but not for Ethereum. Speaking of Solana, we broke to a new high today. Excellent. Don't need that anymore. 253 was our very recent high. We have since drawn down to 247 as the current price. Seems like this pivot level was the entry and not the 213 that I had estimated. Maybe it can. Solana is a volatile coin, and hypothetically, if we do drop to 213 tomorrow, not saying that we will, but like, you know, if something of that magnitude happens, we'd still be in an uptrend. Kind of. Like, this would flip to a bearish super trend, sure. Like, it's gonna do this because, you know, price could do something like that. But like, as, you know, price kind of lateralizes and comes down, then we flip the super trend bullish again, and we will be following. Why wouldn't it let me draw? Okay, following this uptrend once again, because I'll admit it, we did get overextended a little bit on Solana over here. So there's a chance for a correction on it. That being said, I don't think I will be purchasing anything over here in the 230s. Because I already have some either way. And if we don't drop and we continue going higher, that's fine as well. I've disclosed this before. I have entries in like 220, 230, and another one at 190. So those are in good profit. But I want more. I'm going to be greedy with it. So that's my thoughts on Solana. XRP Ripple, we are still in an uptrend. We're above $3, which is good. We hit a high today of 314, and current price is 308. We have a resistance at 318, which is the high that we hit on 13th of September. I have my take profit at 333 because I want to get out of this as soon as possible. This is more of like a short-term trade. Don't expect too much on big caps. There's people out there that are asking for like little reviews on their portfolios, and they're holding big caps and expecting those to do some kind of a significant move. I feel like you got to risk it a bit more. Look into other coins that have a bit lower of a market cap with actually good potential. And for that, it does require profound analysis. But ultimately, with like the help of AI and everything, it makes things a lot easier. So that's what I would suggest. I want to talk about Litecoin, of course. So I put a trigger order over here, and yes, it is higher than my average entry price. But the reason I did this was because I want more exposition into Litecoin. I feel like I'm a bit underexposed. I only got 500 in here. And when Litecoin moves, it moves, right? We've seen it rise to one recent high of 130, almost 140, I think. 134. And we're at 119. It's not a big return, but it can do something. And keep in mind, in 2021, we were much higher. People would argue, what's the use case for Litecoin? It doesn't make sense. Why buy Litecoin? Sure. But in an alt season, you realize that doesn't really matter. Like, everybody's just going to buy it because they'll want to. They'll look at Litecoin and be like, wow, I remember Litecoin from X amount of years ago. I'm going to buy it. It's the digital silver still, whether you like it or not. People want to give that title to XRP, but no, I disagree. I'll keep it with Litecoin. I still have love for Litecoin. We'll see how it performs. So 115 is where I put my trigger order, which happens to be right on a pivot level. And of course, I do this kind of magic where I put like a trigger order down and the market goes against it. And that's how I trick the market to make prices go up. I know, right? It's the world against me at this point. So, little life hack for you. If you really want something to go up, put a trigger order like right beneath. And the market's going to be like, oh, look, he wants to fill an order here. We're just going to pump everything. And then you'll go up. But you got to already be in the market for that to happen. Otherwise, you get something that happens like in SUI. Right over here. I put a trigger order right there. Markets are like, yeah, we're going to tease you a little bit. We're going to drop until here, and then we're going to take off to nearly $4. So we had a great day today. I remember it being up like 10+%, like 11% or something crazy. This was, yeah, 12% in total movement today. Good stuff. We hit a high of 397. Clearly, the $4 is our big resistance, as I've mentioned. I don't want to pay too much attention to the 391 resistance from pivot levels. So it's been doing good. But this order unfortunately did not get filled. And yes, I was willing to purchase a little higher than my average entry. But it's going good, and I like SUI still. Low in Chunks, welcome. Another good day for Pengu. Yeah, I saw. Really good day for Pengu. Yep, made a higher high. So that's good overall. And Super Trends level continues higher. These orders did not get filled. I don't even know if I should even keep them here anymore. Maybe they... I don't even know. It's still very volatile. A lot of people... I checked sentiment as well on Twitter for Pengu. A lot of people do like it still. So, high hopes for this one. We're almost at 40. 0.40. Yeah, we basically do have a resistance there, I guess. Psychologically speaking. Because we hit a high of 39688, so it's very, very close. I like this, though. Pretty cool. You're holding that until, like, mid-November, I think you said, right? So we still got plenty of time to let this run. Could be something big. Meme coin hype is getting there, too. We're seeing the popularity on Pump Fun. It's getting a little crazy there, but... it's the sentiment that really matters, of course. So yeah, good overall for Pengu. Cardano's at 93. I bet you're barely positive in here as well, right? What are we next? At 95. What are these lines for? I guess it is valid. 95, then 97, then $1, then $1.02. Your resistances for Cardano. Why are we not above $1 yet for Cardano? Yeah, it's ideal, of course, to take profits on it when you do see that it gets like really overpurchased. Right now we kind of are at those levels, but I still think there's a lot of potential for Pengu to go higher in your case. 716. I would like to increase my exposition on Cardano, but I don't know. I don't know how well it will perform this cycle. Like, I know it'll do good. Everything will do good, but I want the best. I want something to, if I'm going to invest in it, I want it to do the best. Chainlink flipping the trend, almost. Breaking the downtrend very soon, if we can close out above this downtrend line. But Supertrend's already preemptively calling it, and it's putting its support level right at my entry price, meaning that I should not see negative numbers, hopefully, for a long time on Chainlink. Avalanche holding up huge this week. Average buy is at $20 for you. Let me check Avalanche. I have not looked at Avalanche in a moment. And I have some news on it. 10% up today. That is impressive. Okay. 35. Oh, yeah. No, I don't have any Avalanche anymore. I think I did before, and it was at 35. But I was stuck at the bottom for such a long time, right? I entered another position on Avalanche at like 20 or 25, something like that. It rose to 30 some point. This was like many months ago. And I took profits from it. Yeah, because it reached like 55. December 2024, January. I remember buying like this low, I'm pretty sure. And then it dropped to around over here. Maybe I still have it. Maybe I still have the purchase at 35. I'd have to check. Yeah, I'll check and then I'll maybe get back to you guys. Because it's in another account. But you got in at 20. That is really good. That is really good. That's basically this bottom right over here. Wow, sniper. Good stuff. Huge profit on it. I still think it can go higher. I haven't checked its tokenomics though, but I know they have a max supply on it. And there is news on Avalanche that I have today. If I can find it. Here you go. South Korea's first ever stablecoin just launched on Avalanche. Probably part of the reason why we're seeing this kind of movement today. You can always check with like AI, I guess, to determine the kind of movements, reason why we're having the movements. Where are you? Here. If you go to like CoinMarketCap, you go here, click on why Avalanche price up today. Yeah, Korea won stablecoin launch. So it is indeed that. South Korea's push for regulated stablecoins. That's cool. I don't think I've ever heard of a stablecoin being launched on Avalanche. I've seen it launched on Tron. Of course, on Solana, we've seen it on Ethereum. We see it even with just cryptocurrencies themselves as collateral instead of like treasuries, like we see with normal stablecoins in USDT, USDC, something like USDE from Athena. I was studying more on that as well. And I do have a topic later on about Hyperliquid's new stablecoin that they will be launching. What else they got? ETF progress. Oh yeah, we got big updates on ETFs as well. I'll also be talking about that later today. And altcoin season momentum. Of course, we are all expecting that, so deserved. Good movement for Avalanche. I checked that. World Liberty Financial, what are you doing? Still stuck here. I'll just leave my order down there. If it ever gets filled, good. If not, good. And Stellar is also on its way up. 37 is my average entry. Nothing much has really changed. I'm pretty well exposed into Stellar. Do I want more? I feel like I could get more. I'm taking a good profit at 49, a very reasonable price either way, just 10 cents away from that. So I'll leave it where it is. Stellar can do its own thing. If you really want maybe exposition to Stellar, you do gotta support on this. 38.6, 38.5, approximately there. Otherwise, 37, 373, that's your uptrend support, which might continue rising given the volatility that we could expect for tomorrow. Yep. That's what we got there. What else do I got that's important? Sonic. Also similar kind of price action that we're seeing with something like Chainlink. Close to breaking its downtrend, and when it does, it will be big. Also a recent uptrend flip on this super trend. This is what I'm talking about with like Chainlink, right? Recent flip on the super trend, and we're about to break a downtrend. So should be some good movement from them. I think that is all. Ave, well, what are you doing, Ave? Yeah, it's on its way up. Cool. Let it do its thing. We have a resistance 317. Great. All right. That's all I've got for my technical analysis. Let's move on to some news, shall we? So we know Donald Trump was in the UK visiting King Charles. I called him Prince Charles yesterday. And also Keir Starmer, of course. And I don't know if much was mentioned at it. I don't think anything significant. But we did get this news, I guess the most important one. Trump stating that he intends to get back the Bagram U.S. military base in Afghanistan. If you don't know, there's a big deal where I think it was under Biden's administration. I could be wrong. A lot of U.S. troops were forced to leave that U.S. military base. And eventually the Taliban took over. And it was this huge thing where they were celebrating with U.S. weapons, like a lot of, military stuff, tanks, missiles, I don't know, they were just parading around with it. The Taliban took over all of that. So, yeah. He said that we gave it to them for nothing. We're trying to get it back. One of the reasons we want the base is that it's an hour away from where China makes its nuclear weapons. War preparation coming soon. Maybe. It's obviously to keep China in check because we don't want them invading Taiwan. It'll hurt the semiconductor market, or maybe benefit it, rather. And, I mean, it would be bad overall, though. Like, because we're going to see things like, whenever there's wars, risk assets get sold off first. That includes crypto. So, say bye-bye to the alt season, if that ever does happen. But I don't think it will. Oh yeah, you have an average buy on link for... What is going on? You have an average buy on link for $20 as well. It was lower, but you bought more at a higher price. I think my keyboard might be... Yeah, it's probably my keyboard. I spilled tea on my keyboard. So maybe one of my buttons are acting up. Unless I'm getting hacked. If I'm getting hacked, then I didn't even click that. Yeah, something is wrong. I'm not clicking anything, literally. Like, you see the menu popping up, right? Yeah, I'm probably getting hacked. It is what it is. It was a good run. $20 on link. Yeah, that's good. Mine's a bit higher. 22.89. Yeah, stop that. Do I just... I don't know. Yeah, it probably is my keyboard, because if I click this... Oh, that doesn't do anything. I don't know. Yeah, let's just hope it's a keyboard malfunction. This is a fresh keyboard, too. Not that fresh, but, good enough. We have some news from Israel. They will deploy their new Iron Beam laser defense system later this year after final tests. Of course, they are still preparing for more war. That could be coming in the far future, though. Far future, I mean, like, after alt season. It would be the reason why alt season finishes. Maybe. If we see more wars. If Ukraine-Russia conflict doesn't end, if Israel starts attacking Iran again, if China starts invading Taiwan, yeah, those are probably some catalysts that could end the all season. But I don't think that's going to happen in upcoming months. It probably will in maybe next year. So I think we'll be safe. Anyways, the Iron Dome that Israel has. They now have the Iron Beam, which will shoot lasers to shoot down rockets, drones, mortars at the speed of light for just a few dollars per strike. So it's going to be more efficient and more cheaper. The US has invested $1.2 billion into this Iron Beam, which gives Israel another layer of missile defense. That's pretty cool overall. Yeah. As long as it's for defense, sure. We also, what was with the talks about us having the Golden Dome here in the United States? Also one of the things that Trump is doing. I don't know, there's a lot of stuff that Trump is doing with this whole war thing. Labeling the cartels in South America as terrorist organizations. We can now use military equipment on them. We see footage of them just shooting down boats. So there's that. We just label Antifa as a terrorist group. What else do we got? The talks of creating a golden dome, and apparently Canada's also interested. So we'll have all of North America with this missile defense system, which I expected us to already have, but sure. They expect to spend billions of dollars to get it done. Yeah, Canada, I do hope that we do get in part of the Golden Dome, but I don't know what this government is going to do. There's this whole talk of like, we don't know how big our deficit is going to be. They're scared to give us that information. So I'm like, yeah, can we just pass the torch over? Like, let's just be American, you know? Yeah, 51st state, exactly. Just let it happen. So it's a whole mess up here, but yeah. And then also another thing with Trump is renaming the Department of Defense to the Department of War. I don't know, it just makes things seem a bit more serious. We also have, he is still trying to kind of make the Russia-Ukraine war stop by trying to get NATO countries to also put tariffs or sanctions on India and China to prevent them from buying Russian oil. There's that going on. Maybe that's why he went to the UK. I don't know the reasons why he went to the UK. There's probably something for that matter to discuss. Who knows? Speaking of NATO countries, I don't know if you guys heard of this stuff. It's pretty funny in my opinion. Brigitte Macron, so the spouse of French President Emmanuel Macron, plans to present scientific and photographic evidence to a US court to prove that she is a woman. And that's the satirical part of it. It's like, okay, why do we need this kind of evidence to prove that she's a woman? Yeah, she looks odd for a woman, doesn't she? Maybe because she's a bit older, but you can't disrespect someone based on their looks. It is what it is. We're all gonna get old. But there's all these talks that, I don't know if you guys heard of the narrative, like, Brigitte Macron is Emmanuel's dad, but transgender. Or maybe the wife is just transgender, that's it. Because there's a lot of weird videos circulating out there discussing that kind of stuff. So it's like, okay, what are we really dealing with over here? And all the, part of it had to do with like the Olympics that happened last year with all that, the drag queen show, the intro to the Olympics that was hosted in France one time. I don't know, a lot of heavy implications there, and it's all suspicious, so there's that. We'll see what happens, though. It'll be pretty funny. The photographic evidence that she's a woman? Okay. Moving on. Donald Trump has once again extended the US TikTok ban deadline now until December 16th. It was previously set to be banned yesterday. I know I'm late to this news. But that was one part of the things that was mentioned by Trump when he had a discussion with China. And from there, he also discussed that he will be arranging a phone call with Xi Jinping, president of China. That's going to happen tomorrow, I think, at 9 or 10 in the morning. So we'll wait to see what comes out of that. I'm sure we'll see a post from Donald Trump tomorrow saying, I just had a great call with the wonderful president of China, Xi Jinping. We discussed la 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 la, and no more trade tariffs, right? Hopefully. That would give us some volatility toward the upside, but we also have that triple witching event to look out for. That's the biggest thing I think we are to expect. Although I'm sure it might even be a nothing burger. Because like, okay, so much volatility, sure, but like where do we end up? Lower, higher? What's going to be the case here? I wanted to look as well at, because I only looked at short liquidations. I didn't look at the longs. And I'm sure there's plenty of longs to be liquidated. No, we're good. We're good until we... Like, this shouldn't be any issue with us dropping down to 114,000. Realistically, like, from here lower, 114,000, if we do bleed out lower, that can drop us to maybe 112,000, which is also another level I mentioned for Bitcoin specifically to be one of our supports, right? 113 and something, so below 114. We have our first support, and then second one we got around 112. So that does fall in line at least with my technical analysis. Anyway, all that was just to say, yes, TikTok will not be getting banned. We're extending the deadline to December 16th, one day after my birthday. So I don't know. I don't care about TikTok at all. I don't use it, but boy, do they have some funny memes. I see reposts of. Anyways, this was posted. S&P 500 rallies to highs. Don't be a panickin'. These were the words that were uttered on that devastating day, April 7, where Trump was telling us, which day was it? Oh, it's way further back here. Trump was telling us on this day, guys, don't worry. I know the tariffs thing, yep, it's making markets crash, but don't be a panickin'. Now's a great time to buy, guys. And man, if you listen to Trump, you'd be a millionaire by now. So we must listen to Trump. He has even said, stocks will do much better as time goes by. When Trump gives you financial advice, you gotta take it. Maybe it is indeed a good time to start buying. Or maybe, I don't know, this is all just hype, because evidently, yes, stock markets are at an all-time high, but we did just get rate cuts as well. I have not looked at the S&P 500 specifically, so let me just have a look. Oh yeah, no, we're definitely up there. These are all-time high levels indeed. 6,659. Okay. Cool. We had this big news today. Part of the reason why tech stocks went a little higher today. Also helped with Bitcoin with its movement. There's this whole talk about Bitcoin kind of feeling like a tech stock, just another tech stock, right? Because the correlation between Bitcoin and something like NASDAQ index, US 200, or is it 100? I'm forgetting my indices, but yeah, it's pretty similar, right? So we hope to decouple from that, right? But hey, import the Wall Street, become the Wall Street is what I say. You owed 12K in taxes in April. You had to sell a lot of stocks. Oh no, that is the worst time. And crypto at that time to fund it. That sucks, man. In April of yeah, because that is tax season. Oh boy, I feel bad for you, man. Yeah, like that must suck. Being forced to sell at that time. Like me, I was like contemplating selling, but that was just me being scared, selling at a loss. But I managed to power through it. I did take advantage of a lot of the dips, although not all. I actually ran out of money on, like, for the first time in a very long time during that drop. I ran out of money once last year in August, that August 5 drop, and I ran out of money in this April 7 drop. This is in terms of me reinforcing my positions, adding extra margin, and just having trigger orders ready to buy even more dips, to the point where I couldn't buy any more dips, and I couldn't save any other positions either. And a lot of it, like, got liquidated as well on that drop. I wasn't safe from it. So yeah, it's happened to me a couple times. But man, like, if I put myself in your shoes, like, if I had to pay taxes at that time and I had to, like, sell stuff and everything was at, like, super low levels, yeah, that would have been really painful, man. That sucks, dude. Yeah. Anyway, okay. Why did I... Oh, yeah, because NASDAQ and Bitcoin kind of same correlation. But yeah, good thing that they had a good correlation today because it was an up day for them. Nvidia plans to invest $5 billion into Intel. Nvidia, what is this? Synthetic structure means it inherits volatility from Nvidia stock moves, but verify this $5 billion rumor. Tokenized equities amplify both fundamental shifts and market speculation. Custodial risks remain unchanged regardless of corporate maneuvers. We saw this huge movement in Intel, finally deserved. I thought Trump was going to be the one that saves Intel, but no, apparently it was Nvidia. Look at this candle. How much is this? 29% candle. Wow. We went from 25 to 33. We're seeing a lot of specifically tech stocks do this kind of movement. We saw the same thing with like something like Tesla, right? After, well, this is not the actual Tesla. After, it's similar chart. Elon Musk bought a lot in Tesla, and it keeps going higher, so good for that. He bought back $1 billion worth of shares. And I want to check if Nvidia had any important movement. Yeah, kind of. Still lateralized at the top, right? So how much more can you expect from it? Biggest company in the world, by the way. Worth more than Canada. The whole country of Canada. Just letting you know. It's rough up here. I was going to say about Intel. I thought Trump was going to be the one that saves this company. Because it was looking rough, right? We haven't seen these levels since, what was it, 2010? 2014 or something, right? So it was rough. And Trump was actually criticizing the company, saying, oh, the CEO is doing a bad job. They got to replace it. They announced some partnership with the US. I think it was around here, maybe in August. A partnership with the US where the United States would be having a stake in Intel, 10% stake in Intel. For basically free. They didn't spend a dime. They just donated 10% of the company to the US government. So we thought, yay, Trump stepped in and he got something working because after criticizing the CEO, he met up with the CEO. And then Trump later determined, you know what, he's actually a nice guy. Forget everything I said about him being an incompetent guy. His story is marvelous and we expect a lot of good stuff coming from Intel. So we thought that was going to save the company. It kind of rose us back to similar highs that we have seen in the past. But this specific candle has officially broken the downtrends that we have been experiencing. And you look in a weekly chart, it's already flipped to a green super trend. So from here, I think that is the catalyst indeed that we deserve to see Intel start making higher highs once again to kind of recover lost ground. We hit a high of 62, our all-time high in April 2021. So we're about halfway there. We'll see how well Intel can do from here. Here's an analysis on it. Intel stock extended its rally to 55% year-to-date after Nvidia announces a $5 billion investment in the company. This puts Intel at its highest level since July 2024 when it first started crashing, right? Okay, well, that's all I guess. And this one was the US also getting involved in Intel. This happened when? September? No, wait, what? Oh, that was August 22nd. That's when the US took a 10% stake in Intel worth $11 billion. And Nvidia just made a $5 billion investment on top of that. Directly from Intel's website, the US investment, the average price per share, which was about $20 per share. You give them that 11 billion amount, and Nvidia purchased a $5 billion investment on Intel. This would be used to develop custom data centers and personal computing products. We saw the good surge. We also saw on August 10th that reports emerged that US government struck a trade deal with Nvidia and AMD. Nvidia and AMD agreed with Trump to provide US with 15% of revenue from chip sales in in China, what am I reading? To remove export controls. I saw some of this as well and thought, yeah, AMD will be benefited, from all this. But now, because of Nvidia now seemingly picking Intel, seems like that takes away, the lunch money from AMD. Advanced Micro Devices. So we'll see how that plays out, I guess. And this is the story, like I said, about the CEO of Intel is highly conflicted. He must resign immediately. There's no other solution. But then they just take the stake in Intel. So there's that. I'm not going to read all this, but you get the point over here. Good stuff overall for Intel. And AMD apparently crashed, I guess. The market thinks Intel has gone from a dying horse to a key player in the AI revolution, seemingly overnight. That is why AMD, I'm assuming, has been suffering. I'll have a look at its stock price, I guess. It hasn't suffered too much. Like, I have some AMD over here. Yeah, it kind of came down to a new low. I purchased this dip today. This morning. But I think overall it'll still be a good company. Next up, I know I'm talking a bit more about stocks than crypto, but it just seems like there's more company news rather than crypto news, but I still have some more crypto news, so we'll get to that. Do not worry. Meta, they've announced 3 new products at their Meta Connect 2025, this event that they had. Ray-Ban Meta Gen 2, $379. Meta Ray-Ban Display, starting at from $800. And Meta Ray-Ban Vanguard, starting from $500. Basically smart glasses with like a display there, with augmented reality kind of thing. Basically a smartphone in your glasses. That's pretty cool. They got color 600 by 600 pixel resolution, 20-degree field of view, 5,000 nits of max brightness. I think that might be dangerous. I don't know. 2% light leakage, making it harder for other people to see that there is a display. That's interesting, right? Because only you can see the display, right? And you don't want other people to see that what you're seeing on the other side of your glasses, the outside. Apparently, there's only 2% of that light that gets leaked to the other side. It's not that big. I don't think it would be that noticeable. So good job, I guess, on them, because that's what it looks like from the outside. There's gesture control if you use a wristband, which translate the signals created by your muscle activity into commands for your glasses. That is an interesting concept indeed. Comes with transition lenses. My glasses do that too. The brightness adjusts depending on ambient UV light. It's monocular displays. The display only appears in the one lens. It could do that. It has microphones, speakers, cameras. I've seen like those videos on Instagram where it's like guys trying to rizz up random girls on the streets, and they have those Meta glasses, right? Just for the camera purpose, right? So other than that, what is the use case? I'm not that kind of guy that goes up and rizzes girls, but whatever. There's that. I'm sure there's other uses for it. Meta says the display is placed off to the side so it doesn't obstruct your view. And it isn't on all the time. It's designed for short interactions that you're always in control of. This isn't about strapping a phone to your face. It's about helping you quickly accomplish some of your everyday tasks without breaking your flow. It is the first product that takes microphones, speakers, and cameras, and a full color display backed with compute and AI, and puts it all together in a single device that's stylish and comfortable. It hits US shelves on September 30th. There will be expansion to Canada, France, Italy, and UK, planned for early 2026. It sucks to live here. Anyways, cool, good stuff overall. But there was actually a malfunction while Mark Zuckerberg was presenting these, which is pretty funny. This is like the point of view, right, on one of the lenses. He was trying to receive a phone call, but he couldn't answer it, I think, while he was live in front of this audience. It was pretty funny. It was like, oh, well, anyway, we'll move on to the next feature. Haha. Anyway, so that's what you got for the Meta glasses. So far this September for being the worst month for Bitcoin, this is apparently the best month so far in terms of all the historical Septembers in Bitcoin. 8% return so far, and I think we're going to go much higher. So there you go. History doesn't always repeat itself. So we got the ETF approval thing, the blueprint, so that the SEC can approve ETFs a lot faster rather than a process that takes like 140 something days, I think. They're going to speed up that process to allow for more ETFs to get approved a lot faster as long as they meet the regulations. I talked about this yesterday, and it's good. It's great for alt season because a lot of altcoins have their ETFs delayed because of this kind of stuff, right? Now that they have this new blueprint out, they can start approving left, right, and center, so it should be good. First one that's coming. Grayscale's Digital Large Cap Fund will begin tomorrow. So it's basically a little portfolio that includes Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, Solana, and Cardano, which suspiciously, this is the strategic crypto reserve that Trump once announced in April or May. I think it was May. May 3, if I'm not mistaken. I can't believe I remember these dates. That's how you know I have no life. May 3. I have to look at Cardano. I remember Cardano pumped like 70% in one day. Let me go to like a daily chart here. May. No, I'm clearly wrong. It might have been March. Do I have no crypto history? Okay, well, let me go to a USDT chart then. Thanks for nothing. There we go. This is it. March 3, I remember. March 2, March 3, we pumped from... Cardano was worth 62 cents. And then suddenly was worth $1.17. Just out of nowhere, for no reason. It was a Truth Social post that came out from Trump saying, yeah, we are going to have this crypto ETF with XRP, Solana, and Cardano in it. Oh, and let's not forget Bitcoin and Ethereum. We love those too. Well, it seems like Grayscale is launching exactly that before the US government is. Huh. Wonder what happened there. And it seems like Cardano is being left out from any future funds. So will XRP, because it seems like Trump kind of got into a fight with whoever released that tweet, or whoever gave the authorization for that tweet to be released. Seems to have been an insider from XRP. I don't know, some connection to the Trump team. And they made that post on Truth Social. And Trump was like, well, I kind of didn't really authorize that to happen. And he kicked that XRP guy out of the White House crypto advisor team or whatever it was. So maybe from the US government, we don't really get much love to XRP. But Cardano is not going to be there. And instead, they're planning to, if they're ever going to release something like this, they're going to use Kronos instead. Their Crypto.com native token. Which I'm sure Chris, CEO of Kronos, is really happy about. I mean, they also had the partnership with Trump Media Technology. So, you know, them buying each other's stock and crypto, that's what made Kronos skyrocket recently. So there's that going on. We also have this huge list that I've shared before, which... It's really hard to find this chart, but this is just a short refresher as to when to expect a lot of these ETFs to get approved. The deadlines is what we got to look for. Filing date is one thing, final deadline is the other thing. So for a lot of these, okay, this is whatever. A lot of these are saying October for Solana ETFs. October 16, Solana ETF November, Solana, everything Solana here. What else we got? October as well, we got XRP ETFs, lots of those coming out. November, we're getting lots of stuff from Grayscale, it seems, and Canary. HBAR ETFs, Polkadot ETFs, Dogecoin, Avalanche ETFs. Those will be coming out November, December. What else we got? Ethereum staking, October. Like, come on. All this stuff getting approved, that's just going to be a really good catalyst for alt season. It's got to be. And these were from way before. ProShares. These are leveraged ETFs. They're not necessarily spot ETFs. It's not the same thing. The spot ETFs is the one that matters the most, not the futures ETFs. Those will all happen in April and March, which at this point in time are a bit irrelevant. So yeah, those are the big ones. I'm sure there's other ones in here that I did not mention. Dogecoin, I think I said. Oh, there's a lot more down here. I'm blind. What is this? Binance and staking ETF. Okay. I don't know about these ones. The Total Capital. Oh, these are leveraged. Okay. Yeah, we don't care about leveraged. I'm pretty sure I saw SUI ETF somewhere in here as well. Ondo, Near ETF, SUI ETF. The deadlines are not applicable yet. So we're waiting to see when we can get those approved. But I'm sure when we get a lot of these XRP and Solana ETFs approved, the rest should come really soon. We're getting a Dogecoin ETF for crying out loud. Well, speaking of Binance here, we had a new all-time high with Binance. 1,000 plus. Well, we've since then dropped, but still, milestone. 1,007 hit today. or I guess yesterday. This time zone is wrong on this chart specifically, but yeah, this is within 24 hours. 1007. This happened specifically at 4 to 8 a.m. this morning. So really good stuff with Binance. I saw it was hitting all-time highs before, like in the 900 somethings, but now we officially crossed the 1000 mark for the first time ever. CZ, of course, watching his baby grow to this large amount, gives his thoughts on the whole project. Watching Binance go from a 10-cent ICO price 8 years ago to today's $1,000 is something words cannot explain. I, not representing any entity or title, as just a community member and a Binance holder, thank everyone in the Binance and crypto ecosystem for your support. Of course, we know he's no longer the CEO of Binance. He had to go to jail because, what was it, money laundering stuff? We'll see. But yeah, we had our challenges along the way, but we worked hard, we built, and we held. It's truly a community effort. This is just the beginning. To the next, what is this number, 10,000x together? I don't know about that one. Binance has already got a very large market cap, and if you're going to 10,000x that, you're expecting it to be worth a lot more than Bitcoin, which that's never going to happen, CZ. I am afraid I have to break that news to you. You're asking why? Well, he's saying no one knows for sure. Correlation does not prove causation. Here's a incomplete list of possible reasons. Oh, I don't know about if I'm going to read all this. It's a huge stuff that's going on. Gas fees reduced. Capacity improved slightly. Binance improved block time from 3 seconds to 0.75 seconds. He learned the negative impact on MEV attacks. So they put a lot of effort into reducing MEV attacks and exploits so that, you know, validators like steal funds in the process or something. Memes made a comeback on Binance Chain. New pro-crypto US administration is the biggest difference. RWAs, we're seeing it being used with a lot of transaction volume increase in other sectors such as stablecoins, DEX, AI, and RWAs. WLF, is that World Liberty Financial? No. Issued the first native stablecoin USD1 on BNB chain. That is a lie. We used Solana for World Liberty Financial, didn't we? Or maybe it's using both. It could. I wouldn't rule that out. They also had a Binance USD coin. I remember that one. It wasn't issued by Binance though. It was shut down in 2023. I remember this. Just before the 3 banks were shut down. Silicon Valley Bank, remember that one? Huge deal. The government had to bail them out. That's the pros of being a bank, I guess. If you ever have like an issue with that, a bank run is what they call it, where everybody tries taking their money out of the bank at the same time. And then the bank is like, well, we actually don't have everybody's funds because the bank never has your funds, whether you believe that or not. That's why they put limits on everybody. You're only allowed to send an e-transfer of $3,000 per day to one person, right? Or to a person, to anybody. And if you're going to send more, you got to fill out this huge form, this huge application. Or you want a wire transfer that's going to cost you, I don't know, $50. Give me the SWIFT code, this person's address. Why do you, the source of funds when you're trying to make a large transfer. Crypto solves all of that with its decentralization, of course. That's what we know about. That's the good stuff that's what we buy crypto. Right, guys? We don't buy because it goes up. We just buy because it's actual utility. I'm pretty sure that's like a quarter of the reason why people actually buy crypto. But yeah. And the rate cut, of course, helped in some way too, even though I don't fully understand it. Yeah. Alt season, CZ. That's why your coin is go up. There you go. I solved your issue. But I think Solana will be better than Ethereum, than Binance. We see the daily app revenue hitting $8.38 million, which is over 3 times Ethereum and 3 times Hyperliquid's app revenue in 24 hours. Solana very, very strong, especially with what's going on with things like Pump.fun. It's kind of coming back. Meme coins, right? Solana's still the hottest place to meme on. So good stuff overall. And that's part of the deserved reason why we continue hitting, well, not hitting new highs, but recovering lots of lost territory, right? What is next from here? Our all-time high, 295. I see people saying 260 is the all-time high. Did I miss something? Either way, 260 is our next resistance. Whether or not that's our all-time high, I don't know. I'm seeing other people's charts and it's showing like, yeah, 260 was the all-time high for Solana. I'm like, that's not right. I could check here though. All-time high. All-time high was, yeah, 295, 294. What? Okay, well, I guess everybody has different liquidity providers, different charts, whatever. We have a former partner from Pantera, which Pantera is a company that's buying a lot of Solana, by the way. Their partner will now lead Soulmate, interesting name. They're launching a $300 million Sol DAT in the United Arab Emirates. So an ex-Pantera alum moves $300 million in Solana to United Arab Emirates. Institutional validation for Solana's infra hits new highs. DATs boost liquidity ecosystem growth, but watch validator centralization as big money pours in. It's bullish for Solana's enterprise adoption, probably part of the reason why we hit a 253 high today. That's good overall. This is big, if true. Aptos partners with PayPal. Aptos becomes the move-based launch partner for PayPal's stablecoin PiUSD. What's with the zero? PiUSD 0? Bringing $7 billion plus in monthly stablecoin volume closer to real-world payments. It sucks that PiUSD, we can't really use it in Canada because it's a USD coin. This tie-up marks a turning point. Aptos just scored major clout with PayPal, onboarding its stablecoin directly to their chain. Social buzz has exploded, with key CT voices fanning the hype and drawing fresh eyes to Aptos. I love Aptos, and it has been shooting up ever since. Really, really content. On the technical front, price pumped 6.85% in 24 hours. Volume and open interest both surged. Moving average convergence divergence shows bullish momentum building. I don't use this indicator, but hey, if it's good, it's good. The CRSI, what's with this? At 96 plus shouts overbought. It's like the RSI, but something. C. I don't know what the C stands for. It doesn't show that in my RSI, and my RSI is the one that matters. So, who cares? Don't be shocked by short-term shakeout as early traders lock profits. I still think we've got plenty more movement in us. Not plenty, but like, maybe $5. That's where we have a good resistance. $5 Aptos already. This is really good. The movement cements Aptos as a real player for on-chain payments and asset tokenization. Bigger ecosystem flows could follow if the adoption sticks. 160,000 transactions per second, by the way. Better than Sui, better than Solana, better than, I don't know, Say, better than Ethereum. So Aptos does have a good chance. But we need this kind of stuff to happen with Aptos for the attention to be here. The institutional interest to be in something like Aptos. I still think Sui will be more popular than Aptos because everybody's noticing Sui now. Like, we see Solana do its thing and it's like, okay, what's the Solana killer? Oh, it's Sui? Okay, let's buy Sui. And admittedly, yeah, Sui has been already performing better than Aptos, I would say, like with its 12% pump today. But Aptos is getting up there soon. And after Aptos, I think, of course, Sonic, the best of them all. And I hope Sonic is the one that actually wins the most out of all of these. Because it deserves it. 400,000 transactions per second. So you know. Anyway. Good stuff for Aptos. Consensus's Joseph Lubin. He is confirming that a MetaMask token is coming very soon. I'm pretty sure we heard this news before, but yeah, just a reminder. MetaMask token soon. Maybe NFTs start coming back. That's one thing I saw with Pengu is that their NFTs could like really bring back the whole concept of NFTs, because even I find myself enjoying looking at the different types of Pengus that were out there. We saw this phenomenon happen sometime last month when we saw all these crypto projects changing their Twitter profile pictures into the Pengu mascot, but with their own twist on it, right? With their logo. With Binance, we saw the Pengu with a Binance cap on or something. The Coinbase with the Coinbase head on. Pengu with the Coinbase headband, right? That kind of stuff. A lot of crypto projects. The new PFP Who Dis with the Pengu stuff. That was a big hit, and part of the reason why Pengu was rising during that time. Last month or 2 months ago, whatever it was. So yeah, we just talked about this Avalanche stablecoin good with South Korea. And speaking of stablecoins, I did want to talk about Hyperliquid, the bidding war for USDH. So this was the thing that was going on in the past year. Hyperliquid was going to be releasing their new stablecoin. Cool. The thing is, they weren't going to build it from scratch because that would take a long time, I assume. So what they wanted to do instead is have a bidding war. They're basically saying, okay, we're going to have some companies that already know a lot about stablecoins, and we're going to have the community vote to decide which company we go with that will build our stablecoin for us. Well, they practically already have it set up. They would just have to, make it a thing. So here were some of the companies. I'm pretty sure there was more, but among them there was Paxos. We see Paxos Gold. Paxos does have their own stablecoin as well, I'm pretty sure. We saw Frax and Agora. And also, what was it called? Native markets. So each one of them, of course, they were like providing what they would bring to the table when it comes to getting this Hyperliquid stablecoin approved, or if they get voted, what they would do for a Hyperliquid stablecoin, how they would back it up, how they would collateralize it, make sure it stays 1-to-1, and what they will do with the revenue. Will they do buybacks on Hyperliquid's token, right? The Hype token. How much of the percentage of the revenue will go there? That kind of stuff. And if they're regulated appropriately with Mika from Europe and Genius Act, the most recent stablecoin bill that's passed in the United States, that kind of stuff, right? Looks like Paxos was doing good in terms of votes until Native Markets presented their proposal. And I think they won. Native Markets will be the issuer for Hyperliquid's stablecoin. And keep in mind, Hyperliquid, if you don't know, is a decentralized exchange from Solana. So, that's also been popularizing Solana's movements that we've been seeing. It's partially thanks to Hyperliquid. And they use a lot of USDC, right? Circle as their stablecoin. But they're moving away from that. And because of that news, that's why we saw Circle crash in its price, and its stock price, which we can see. From there, now we're seeing, Circle is trying to get themselves a bit more involved as well still. Like, they don't want to fully step out because they understand the power of Hyperliquid. They sure do bring in a lot of revenue and everything, a lot of volume into the markets. So for a decentralized exchange that allows you to trade derivatives, it's important. They wanted a piece of that. But they're not shown here as an issuer for the stablecoin. They already have their own. So $6 billion in stables on the platform. They can capture $240 million a year in treasury yield, which can be funneled back into Hyperliquid buybacks, validators, and growth with native markets. So natively issued infra through Bridge with, I don't know about this, cash and US treasuries through Bridge. That's how they will be backing their reserves, right? The custody. And they're also using BlackRock off-chain and Superstate on-chain. Cool. So they're getting extra support from probably the biggest investing company in the world. And what they're going to do with the revenue is 50% Hyperliquid Assistant Fund, 50% ecosystem growth. What was it? Yeah, so Hyperliquid buybacks, validators, and growth, right? Regulatory compliance, Genius Act has licenses, MSB, MTL. Yeah, so it ended up winning. Hyperliquid launch offers institutional DeFi yields, while the $240 million a year on $6 billion reserve, looks enticing. USDC's liquidity dominance remains key. True success depends on validator adoption and whether yields can outpace USDC's network effects. Nice. So I covered what Circle's stance on this was before, but it wasn't too clear to me, so I'm going to cover it with a different kind of set of words in this post. We wondered how Circle was going to react to the USDH saga, and in answer, they released a blog post discussing buying hype and they will continue to buy more Hyperliquid, so they're not fully leaving. They want to become a validator, which that's one thing that made me doubt, like, okay, you're now going to have a competitor stablecoin. Why do you want your competitor to be your validator? Maybe because of the trust. I mean, yeah, that's also a part of my reasoning is like Circle can't just stab them in the back. They're a big company, right? Investing in developer tooling along with CCTP v2. I don't know what this is. Incentive programs for HIP3 hyper EVM builders. Okay. We've simply been blown away by the growth and success of Hyperliquid over the last year, and as we've gotten to know Jeff and team and many of the major emerging builders in the ecosystem, it's very clear that this is something incredibly unique and special. Circle is here. We'll continue to invest. We're thrilled to be supporting this incredible community. So even though they're getting kicked out, basically, they'll still continue to invest in the company. So, hey, fair play from Circle. Deserved, I guess. Triple witching tomorrow, meaning lots of... Hold on. Let me see what this is exactly to give you guys. So stock options, stock index futures, and stock index options contract all on the same trading day simultaneously expire. It happens 4 times a year. Happens to be on the 3rd Friday of March, June, September, which is now, and then December. Cool if you didn't know that. And this is known for bringing a lot of volatility. It's once in a quarter event, right? Once every four times a year, whatever. You do the math. I cannot do math right now. I'm very tired. But yeah, so it's going to be an important day nonetheless tomorrow. Cool. I am losing in compound. Don't care. So yeah, that will conclude the stream for tonight. Tomorrow, so we're getting Xi Jinping call with Trump. We're getting triple witching. And that is it. Next week. Really? Nothing is happening next week? GDP? Okay, sure. Do we really care anymore? Like, we know we're getting our 3 rate cuts this year. PCE. Okay. Yeah, next week we'll have some economic data, I guess. Although I don't think much is going to change. Yep, so with all that news out of the way, should give us a clear roof so that we can start rising again. Wouldn't you agree? I still think we're early. I'm not going to lie. Everything I still feel like can have its chance of going much higher for alt season ultimately. October, November. It's going to be great. That being said, I don't think we should go all in right now. Let's not be immature about it. We need to wait for correct entry signals. Although I'll admit, that has been lacking lately. But the market will always give you an opportunity. So we just gotta wait. Wait for the right chance. When we see a good old red day, that's the time that we can start dropping some money in. I'm prepared. I've got cash on the side still. Any minimal dip that I see, I'll just buy more. Even if it's the same tokens I already have entries on, yeah, maybe I'll buy in a little bit higher than what my average entry price is. But it'll increase my exposition overall. Sure, it'll increase my average price, but I'm holding on to these until October, November, wherever the top of the cycle ends up being. So that's the game plan. And that is the stream. Thanks so much for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for your support. I will see you tomorrow, Friday. We'll see what this volatility was all about. If it's good, then I'll start paying attention to these kinds of dates more. But if it's nothing burger, then we can just ignore it for the future. We'll see how it plays out. All right. Thanks so much for watching. Hope you